Welcome to episode 8 of the Black and White Bistro, where black and white photographers meet. Our goal is simple: to provide a quality space where artists who enjoy black and white photography can come to get to know each other, and maybe even learn a little something from our guest artists. I'm your host of the Black and White Bistro show, DavidLPayne, known here on Vero as @KaijuCreative_black and white. Today is a very special day for us because episode 8 is the first episode coming to you from our new home, the @BNW Bistro Creative Resource Center, which I've created for Vero's black and white photography community. If you're a black and white photographer or thinking about trying black and white photography and you want to learn more about it, @BNW Bistro has been created specifically with you in mind. So make sure to follow us at BNW Bistro so you won't miss our updates and brand new features, such as our new Black and White Bistro Roundtable podcast, which is currently under development. If you like what you're seeing and hearing, please take a moment to share today's episode with your followers and friends. Today, we're proud to introduce you to a very special photographer who makes his home in Athens, Greece. Now coming to you from his Greek temple, here he is, Apollo, god of light and illumination himself, the monochrome god of photography, Costas Kalamaras.
Hello, my name is Costas and I live in Athens, Greece. I want to thank David for including me and my work in his wonderful BNW Bistro. 8 has always been my lucky number, so I'm very happy to be with you on the 8th episode of this amazing project. My passion for photography started at an early age, as my grandfather was an enthusiastic amateur photographer. He had quite a collection of cameras and accessories, and as I was growing up, he started sharing them with me. But more serious about photography I became at college, when I studied to be a graphic designer. I was lucky enough to have a great teacher, a famous Greek photographer, who tried to teach us the most important thing about photography, and that is to see in 2 dimensions. Very difficult, especially for someone who's just starting out. I also learned to print in a dark room, black and white photos, of course. Color is very difficult. And it's a fascinating experience that I will never forget. The moment you see your photo magically appears on the paper is really unique. That's when I fell in love with black and white photography. Black and white distills the essence of the image to its purest form. Without the distraction of color, all you have left is light, shadows, and texture to create your composition. That also creates a classic appeal with clarity and elegance. I want to thank every one of you for being here with us today, and I hope you enjoy the 3 photos that I chose for you. Back to David.
Many thanks, my friend. Over the next few minutes, we'll discover 3 personal favorite images from Costas and the story behind each, and hear his answers to 4 black and white photography questions we've prepared for him. Let's enjoy the first artist-selected image from Costas and hear the story behind it in his own words.
The first photo I would like to share with you is a very touching one for me. This is my childhood village. The little house on the bottom right was an old abandoned school, which my cousins and I used to sneak into through a small window high up on its back wall. It had such a strong book smell inside, as many of them were scattered in piles on the floor for many years. Today it has become my aunt's country house. The house faintly visible below the school was my beloved grandmother's house, where I stayed for several days, even months every summer, and finally across the sea the beautiful island of Hydra. As a child, there were many summer nights when I could see the Milky Way with the naked eye, much less light pollution than you see. Of course, I didn't know that it was the Milky Way, it just enchanted me. But growing up, I realized I had years to see these magical stars, and I felt very disappointed. I didn't know how to explain the fact that I wasn't seeing them anymore. All I could think of as a reason was that there was something wrong with the atmosphere. When I first saw Milky Way photos on the internet, I recognized it immediately. It was a huge revelation for me, as was the application with which you can see the movement of the galaxy and plan the exact moment when you should photograph this fantastic patchwork of light and stars. So when I was able to apply these techniques and see this wonderful sight once again, even more in the place where I saw it as a small child, I felt such a thrill. For these reasons, as you can understand, this particular one is one of my favorite photos.
We asked Costas, tell us about your photography journey and how and when did you decide to shoot black and white? Here's what he said. My passion for photography started at an early age, as my grandfather was an amateur photographer with quite a collection of cameras, lenses, filters, and other photographic accessories. He was also the one who gifted me my first camera, a film camera, of course. During my studies as a graphic designer, I studied photography as a student of Georgios Dipoulas, a very famous Greek photographer. My interest in photography grew along with my knowledge about it. It was there I was introduced to black and white photography, as well as learning to develop photographs in a darkroom. We next asked Costas, why does black and white photography appeal to you, and how do you know when you've created a truly special black and white photograph? He said, a lot of times, I find that colors are more distracting than I would like. By removing them, you manage to more easily draw attention to your main subject and create both atmosphere and contrast. Also, the black and white photo leaves the viewer free to choose the colors inside their own mind, as he or she imagines them. I know I've created something special when I can't stop looking at it. When I leave the house and I feel again and again the urgent need to take another look at my black and white photo creation. Now, let's enjoy our second artist-selected image from Costas and hear the story behind it.
This is the second photo I would like to share with you, and I have to say I really like this one. I think it captures a wonderful balance between complexity and simplicity, creating a scene that is minimal yet bustling with life. Despite being an older shot taken with a simple compact camera, its recent edit has brought out its full potential. The high key processing, which I always admire when executed correctly, enhances the contrast beautifully. What truly captivates me is the surrealism of the image. We see a bridge, not sure if I can call it a bridge or a platform or a dock or something, I'll just call it a bridge. So we see this bridge in the middle of the sea, seemingly without a beginning or an end. There are several people on the bridge, some walking, some sitting, some just lying down. The only person in the water is a woman who appears to be looking at her cell phone. No one is swimming, which is the actual reason all of these people are there for. I also really like the somewhat foggy atmosphere in the background, which also makes the bridge stand out. I don't have much more to say about this particular photo. It's plain, simple, and I love it.
Our third question was, if you knew then what you know today, what would you have done differently when you first started your black and white photography journey? He said, if I were to start my photography journey again in black and white, armed with the knowledge I now possess, I would focus more on understanding light and shadow. Mastering the interplay between light and darkness is fundamental to creating compelling monochrome images. Also, I take much more time before the capture. Thinking before the capture and seeing things in 2 dimensions is essential. You can always change and crop your frame in post-production, but there are several things that you cannot change or fix once you've captured that image. Thinking about your scene before and as you're composing it, taking into account key aspects that create a compelling black and white image before taking the shot gives you a great advantage. Our final question was, Which of the great black and white photographers were you inspired by, and what is it about their work that makes them special for you? He said George de Paula, Sebastião Salgado, Henri Cartier-Bresson, and of course the legendary Ansel Adams are some of my favorite photographers of all time. I really admire their use of light and contrast in order to evoke feelings and atmosphere in their works. Their ability to captivate you with their amazing storytelling in black and white is an inspiration to me, and something which I try to achieve daily in my own black and white photography journey. Now, let's enjoy our final artist-selected image from Costas and hear the story behind it.
The last photo I'm going to show you today depicts a central point in a beautiful village called Zatuna. Zatuna is in Arcadia, which is in Peloponnesos. This charming village is known because the famous Greek composer Mikis Theodorakis was exiled and lived there for a couple of years during the dictatorship. I find this photo quite impressive. It features an awesome composition with excellent light and shadows that create a wonderful contrast against the stone houses, highlighting the texture of the stone. However, there is another aspect that makes this photo special. I spent several hours in Zatuna that day, capturing numerous images with my mirrorless camera. Just as I was about to leave, I saw this scene and I felt compelled to capture it. However, my camera was already in my bag, and my bag was already inside the truck. So, as I was too tired to take the camera out again, I snapped this photo using my iPhone instead. It turned out to be the best photo I made that day, proving the old saying, the best camera is the one you have with you.
That brings us to the end of today's Black and White Bistro show. We hope you enjoyed meeting Costas and his amazing black and white artistry. To see more of his images, visit his gallery on Vero, share some likes, and consider following his photography journey. Also, his photography website is definitely worth a visit to learn more about this talented black and white photographer. Would you like to have a chance to be featured on the Black and White Bistro show? First, follow us on Vero at BNW Bistro. Second, start using our hashtag BNW Bistro on your best black and white image posts. And finally, connect with us on Vero so that you can send us a DM, or you can send us an email to dave@bnwbistro.com indicating your interest in being our guest, and tell us about yourself and your photography journey. If you enjoyed today's show, make sure to mark your calendars so you don't miss episode 9 coming exclusively on Vero on June 29, when we will have another first. Our first female black and white guest artist. And don't forget, if you're not shooting in black and white, you're only seeing half the picture. Now get out there, enjoy your weekend, and grab some great black and white photography.